What if I told you that Alex Eala's historic Wimbledon dream nearly ended before it even started? It didn't happen on center court, but on a quiet practice court with almost no one watching. Just 48 hours before making history as the first Filipino woman to enter Wimbledon as a seeded player in the Open era, the 21-year-old tennis sensation experienced a frightening moment that left everyone in attendance stunned. During what appeared to be a routine forehand drill, she suddenly stopped and grabbed her shoulder, the very same shoulder that had been heavily strapped throughout the Bad Homburg Open and had already troubled her during her impressive semi-final run in Berlin. In an instant, concerns about her fitness overshadowed the excitement surrounding her Wimbledon campaign. The tennis world held its breath as spectators watched Alex clutch her arm, her face reflecting both pain and determination. For a brief moment, it seemed as though the hopes of an entire nation rested on that injured shoulder. But the real story wasn't the injury itself. It was what happened next. That moment revealed a level of resilience and mental strength that would come to define her Wimbledon journey before she had even played her opening match. Was Alex Eala's body failing her at the worst possible time? Or was this simply the first chapter in what could become the greatest triumph of her young career? On June 22, 2026, a date that will forever hold a special place in Philippine tennis history, Alex woke up to life-changing news as the official WTA rankings confirmed a milestone that would reshape her career and ignite the dreams of millions of Filipino fans around the world. The rankings had officially been released and Alex had climbed 5 places from world number 35 to world number 30, marking another major milestone in her remarkable rise. But the story didn't end there. When world number 9 Bianca Andreescu of Canada withdrew from Wimbledon because of a knee injury, Alex moved up once again in the provisional draw, becoming the number 29 seed. With that achievement, she made history as the first Filipino player in the Open era to be seeded at a Grand Slam singles tournament. The Philippines didn't just celebrate, it erupted with pride. Headlines across the country highlighted her historic accomplishment. Social media buzzed with excitement. And even people who had never followed tennis found themselves cheering for the young star from Quezon City. At just 21 years old, Alex had accomplished what many once believed was impossible. But her incredible journey hadn't happened overnight. It began on June 7, 2026, when she captured her first professional grass court title at the Lexus Birmingham Open, a WTA 125 event. After dropping the opening set, she mounted an inspiring comeback to defeat Nikola Bartunkova 5-7, 6-3, 7-5, claiming her second WTA 125 title and proving she could thrive on grass. The victory lifted her to world number 3-3 and gave her an impressive 9-3 record on the surface heading into Wimbledon. Still, her biggest breakthrough was yet to come. Next came the WTA 500 Berlin Open, where Alex entered the main draw as a wild card, making her tournament debut with little expectation from the tennis world. Surrounded by some of the biggest names in the sport, few believed she could make a deep run. But then, match by match, she began proving everyone wrong. In the round of 16, Alex Eala faced world number 33 Donna Vekic, who entered the match riding an impressive 5-match winning streak on grass. Undaunted, Alex produced another composed and confident performance, defeating Vekic 5-7, 6-3, 7-5 to advance. Yet that victory was only the beginning of what would become one of the most memorable runs of her career. Next, she took on world number 2 Elena Rybakina, the 2022 Wimbledon champion and one of the tournament favorites. Few believed Alex had any chance of pulling off the upset, but she stunned the tennis world by battling past Rybakina in 3 thrilling sets, 5-7, 6-4, 7-6. Riding a wave of confidence, she carried that momentum into the quarterfinals where she defeated world number 8 Elena Svitolina in straight sets, 6-3, 6-4, securing her second top 10 victory in the same tournament and booking a place in the semi-finals of a WTA 500 event on grass. That remarkable run earned her 195 ranking points, raising her total to 1,557 and propelling her from world number 35 to world number 30. Along the way, she moved ahead of several established stars in the rankings, including Emma Raducanu, Donna Vekic, and Katerina Siniakova. She also collected more than $57,000 in prize money, nearly 4 million Philippine pesos, improved her grass court record to an outstanding 9-1 over her last 10 matches, and secured a historic Wimbledon seeding that united an entire nation in celebration. However, beneath the excitement and historic achievements, a troubling reality was beginning to emerge. The warning signs had been there all along, hiding in plain sight. During her semi-final match against Linda Noskova in Berlin, it became clear that something wasn't right. Alex appeared to be struggling with discomfort in her shoulder and elbow, limiting the effectiveness of her returns as Noskova repeatedly capitalized with aggressive winners. Her movement lacked its usual sharpness, and although she continued to fight for every point, it was obvious that she was battling more than just her opponent. Despite the pain, Alex refused to give up. Her power was noticeably reduced. Her movement lacked its usual explosiveness. Yet, she continued fighting for every point until the very end. After the match, she shared an emotional message on Instagram. "Can't begin to describe all the emotions I've experienced this week. My heart is full. I am forever grateful, Berlin. You're so special. Thank you." Her words reflected gratitude and pride, but they also hinted at the immense physical and emotional toll of her incredible run. The very next week in Bad Homburg, fresh photographs showed heavy strapping across her shoulder, making it impossible for fans and analysts to ignore the growing concerns. Questions quickly spread throughout the tennis world. Was she carrying an injury? Was she trying to play through pain? Despite the speculation, no official medical update confirmed any significant injury. Even so, commentators had been raising concerns for weeks about the demanding schedule she had taken on. In just a short span, Alex had competed in Birmingham, Queen's Club, Berlin, and Bad Homburg, an intense stretch of grass-court tournaments that pushed both her body and endurance to the limit. The visible shoulder tape only fueled worries that fatigue could become a serious factor before Wimbledon. Speaking earlier in the month about the tape she had worn on her leg, Alex explained, "My athleticism is something that I've been working on. It's more precautionary than anything. Of course, it's a physical feat to go deep in a tournament, so I'm just trying to keep my body in shape." She described it as a precaution. But as the shoulder strapping became more prominent, the images seemed to tell a different story. They painted the picture of a determined young athlete willing to push herself beyond her limits in pursuit of history, carrying not only the physical demands of professional tennis, but also the hopes and expectations of an entire nation on her shoulders. Both figuratively and, it seemed, literally, the warning signs became even harder to ignore at Bad Homburg. Alex Eala's final singles tune-up before Wimbledon ended with a straight-set 6-3, 6-3 defeat to Elise Mertens, marking her earliest exit of the grass-court season. Yet the result itself wasn't what captured everyone's attention. Instead, it was what followed. With every passing match, the strapping around her shoulder appeared heavier. Her body language suggested increasing discomfort, and the questions surrounding her physical condition only grew louder. Fans and analysts wondered whether she was carrying an injury, but no official confirmation ever came. Then, just 48 hours before her highly anticipated Wimbledon debut as the tournament's number 29 seed, came a moment that seemed to shake the entire tennis world. During what was expected to be a routine practice session at the All England Club, everything appeared normal. The grass courts were immaculate, the weather was ideal, and cameras captured every moment as Alex went through her preparations. Then, in an instant, everything changed. As she struck a routine forehand, she suddenly stopped and grabbed her shoulder, the same shoulder that had been heavily taped throughout Bad Homburg and had already raised concerns during her semi-final run in Berlin. The sight immediately drew attention from everyone nearby. Fellow players paused their practice sessions. Coaches hurried toward the court, and tournament staff closely monitored the situation as concerns spread throughout the grounds. Within minutes, social media was flooded with speculation. Fans feared the worst, wondering whether she had suffered a serious setback just days before the biggest tournament of her career. Rumors ranged from a minor strain to a potentially significant injury. But without any official medical announcement, uncertainty quickly replaced celebration. As Wimbledon approached, one question overshadowed everything else. Would Alex Eala be healthy enough to continue her historic journey? Or was her dream about to face its toughest challenge? Yet, the answers were nowhere to be found. In the days leading up to that frightening moment, the warning signs had become increasingly difficult to ignore. Competing in 4 grass-court tournaments within a short span, Birmingham, Queen's Club, Berlin, and Bad Homburg had placed enormous physical demands on Alex Eala. The heavy strapping on her shoulder had become a visible reminder that her body was being pushed to its limits. But with no official medical update, uncertainty continued to grow. Then, What had started as an ordinary practice session suddenly turned into a moment of genuine concern. The dream that had inspired millions of Filipinos now seemed to hang in the balance. Alex, the young star who had stunned the tennis world by defeating world number 2 Elena Rybakina and world number 8 Alina Svitolina just weeks earlier, was left holding her shoulder with a look that reflected both pain and determination. Questions quickly flooded the tennis community. Would she be fit enough to compete? Could her historic Wimbledon campaign end before it had even begun? Had the physical demands of her remarkable rise finally caught up with her? With no immediate answers available, all anyone could do was wait and hope for encouraging news. As reports of the incident spread, social media across the Philippines exploded with messages of support, concern, and encouragement. Fans who had followed every step of Alex's incredible journey feared the worst, while thousands who had already made plans to watch her compete at Wimbledon anxiously searched for updates. Messages of hope poured in from around the world, with one emotional fan writing, "She worked so hard for this. She deserves to walk onto center court. Please let her be okay." In that moment, it became clear that Alex Eala's story had grown beyond tennis. She had become a symbol of pride and inspiration for an entire nation, and millions were now united by a single hope: that she would recover in time to continue making history on the sport's biggest stage. Support for Alex poured in from every corner of the world. One emotional fan wrote, "Laban, Alex, Laban, we're all praying for you." Across social media, thousands of similar messages reflected the love and admiration she had earned throughout her remarkable rise. Players, coaches, and commentators also rallied behind the young Filipina star, recognizing how quickly she had become one of the biggest stories in tennis. The Alex Eala effect, the wave of excitement that had transformed the 21-year-old from Quezon City into one of the sport's most talked-about players, had never been more evident. Former American tennis player Sam Querrey had recently summed up her growing impact by saying, "Every big win she has now, the reaction afterwards, it looks like she almost won the tournament." Now, however, the tennis world wasn't reacting to another stunning victory. It was anxiously waiting for news about her health. The silence that followed was agonizing. With millions of Filipinos hoping to see their rising star shine at Wimbledon, uncertainty replaced celebration as everyone waited for an update. Yet, even in the middle of fear and disappointment, something inspiring began to unfold. The Filipino community united like never before. Prayer gatherings were organized. Messages of encouragement flooded every social media platform, and the hashtag #LabanAlex quickly gained momentum as fans across the globe expressed their unwavering support. As one Filipino supporter had previously said, "When Alex plays, we all get together and watch. We plan our dinners around her matches." This time, they weren't gathering to celebrate another victory. They were coming together to stand behind their hero during what appeared to be the most difficult moment of her young career. While the tennis world waited and an entire nation prayed, Alex remained surrounded by her coaching team from the Rafa Nadal Academy, preparing to face perhaps the greatest challenge of her journey. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. The medical evaluation finally began. Doctors carefully examined her shoulder, conducted a series of tests, and assessed the extent of the problem. Every passing minute felt like an eternity as millions waited anxiously to learn whether Alex Eala's historic Wimbledon dream would continue or come to a heartbreaking end before the tournament had even begun. The medical evaluation seemed endless. Doctors carefully examined Alex's shoulder, asked detailed questions about the pain, and ran a series of tests before finally delivering their verdict. Weeks of relentless competition had pushed her body to its absolute limit. A demanding stretch of 4 grass-court tournaments, Birmingham, Queen's Club, Berlin, and Bad Homburg, combined with emotional victories over world number 2 Elena Rybakina and world number 8 Alina Svitolina, had taken a significant physical toll. The heavy shoulder strapping, the discomfort that first appeared during her semi-final run in Berlin, and the constant pressure of carrying a nation's expectations had all led to this critical moment. Yet, alongside their diagnosis, the doctors delivered something even more important: hope. The injury was not as serious as many had feared. It was a strain, a warning from her body that rest and careful management were needed, but it was not the devastating setback everyone had imagined. Wimbledon was still within reach. The choice, however, belonged entirely to Alex. She could withdraw from the tournament to protect her long-term health, and no one would have questioned that decision after such an exhausting month, or she could step onto the court and continue chasing history. For Alex Eala, the decision was never easy, but it reflected the determination that had defined her career. When she emerged from the medical room, the uncertainty had disappeared from her face. In its place was quiet confidence and unwavering resolve. She had made up her mind. She would play. She would compete. She would fight. The news spread rapidly across the tennis world. Alex had been cleared to compete, and the nightmare that had gripped her fans began to fade. Her historic Wimbledon dream was still alive. Even so, questions remained. Would her shoulder withstand the demands of Grand Slam tennis? Could it hold up under the pressure of the biggest stage of her career? Those answers would come soon enough. In just 48 hours, Alex Eala was set to walk onto the Wimbledon courts as the number 29 seed, becoming the first Filipino player in the Open era to be seeded in the singles draw of a Grand Slam. Awaiting her in the opening round was Mexico's Renata Zarazúa, with the possibility of an even bigger challenge beyond. The injury scare had become more than just a medical concern. It was a reminder of the sacrifices required to reach the highest level of the sport. It tested Alex's resilience, determination, and belief in herself. And before she had even played her first Wimbledon match, she had already shown the fighting spirit that had inspired millions around the world. The practice session that briefly brought the tennis world to a standstill was meant to be nothing more than a final warm-up before the biggest tournament of Alex Eala's career. Instead, it became a dramatic reminder of how quickly everything can change in professional sports. In a single moment, excitement gave way to uncertainty, and the dreams of millions seemed to hang in the balance. Yet, what could have become the end of her Wimbledon story instead revealed something far more powerful: her resilience. Rather than allowing the injury scare to define her, Alex chose to face it with the same determination that had carried her through every obstacle on her journey. The shoulder strapping would still be visible when she stepped onto the grass. The questions about her fitness would continue to circulate and doubts would remain, but none of that was new to her. Time and again, Alex had proven that she performs her best when expectations are low and the odds are stacked against her. She had stunned the tennis world with victories over world number 2 Elena Rybakina and world number 8 Alina Svitolina, climbed into the world's top 30, and made history as the first Filipino player in the Open era to earn a single seeding at a Grand Slam. More importantly, she had inspired millions of people who now believed that Philippine tennis could compete with the very best. When Alex walks onto the courts at the All England Club, she won't be there as a qualifier hoping for a breakthrough, or as a wild card chasing a miracle. She will arrive as the tournament's number 29 seed, carrying the confidence she has earned through months of outstanding performances. The injury scare may have tested her resolve, but it never broke her spirit. Now, the real challenge begins. Every match will present a new opportunity to prove that she belongs among the sport's elite. The tennis world will be watching.